So part two on why my best friend Samantha and I banned ourselves from playing Monopoly for the rest of our friendship. So we left off where I was on Samantha's property. The rule is if you land on someone's property, the next person in line rolls the dice hit the board, you don't have to pay that person, whoever's property you were on, if they did not notice by the time the next person rolled. This was a rule that I explained before we started playing. This is a rule that was implemented during the game that we were playing. But this time around, because Samantha didn't have any money, she refused to let it go that I owed her money, even though she was the one who rolled the dice next in the first place after I landed on her property. Not only that, but she moved her little token. And midway through moving it, she goes, "Wait a minute." I say, "No, Samantha, this is it. You gonna be broke. You're gonna lose. My brother and I were gonna play. Everything's gonna be fine. We can play another game after this." "No, you're gonna put that back where it was." Now, I told you I don't remember exactly what it was that she was yelling at me, but there was a P and a T involved. So I have to let you all know that back in the day, I was quiet. I was very reserved. I like to keep the peace. I was very much people-pleasing type of person. However, I had my father's temper, and that didn't stop for me until I found Jesus himself. So while I was one way, majority of the time, if you pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed, you would just be cranking the box. The jack was about to come out. And one thing I did not play about was bodily fluids. Like, I didn't like somebody who was sweating me, touching my arm. Like, I just am very particular. But if you didn't catch the video before, you will also understand the dynamic of mine and Samantha's relationship. This just so happened to be that straw that broke the camel's back. I saw red. I blanked out and saw red. I'm not driving no more. Samantha went on purpose after I told her that there was spit coming out of her mouth. I'm not proud of this. I'm not proud of this. You want to play like you're spitting on me? I'm going for real spit on you. And that's exactly what I did. I got the real juice. And now there was no lube in it or anything like that, but there was a disrespectable amount of lubricant in that push. Samantha had maybe 2 milliseconds of a facial expression that I had never seen her make at me before. It was complete and utter disbelief. She did not expect for me to do that. She leaned up to the table, put her hands on that mug, pushed that kitchen chair back with her thighs. It fell on the ground, clickety clack clack. She sprinted up the steps, right past me, zoom zoom, right up the steps. My brother looked at me like, I'm like, she did it first. He like, nah. I'm like, she did. You were sitting there watching. He like, yeah, but that was a little sprinkles. That wasn't nothing. I said, wow, you're still doing it. He like, what you talking about? I'm like, you taking her side. He like, cause you're wrong. I'm like, okay, cool. So I start crying and I go upstairs and I grab her and I'm patting and rubbing her back, apologizing to her. She balled up in a little ball, crying. I'm crying, she crying, and I think that went on for about 30 to 45 minutes. She sits up and I'm trying to explain and she's like, no, it landed in my hair. When I tell you that the entire time, all I could think about was the fact that I didn't feel like I was wrong. Now, you may think something completely different, but if you was me, you would have did the same thing. So while I'm sitting there rubbing her back and apologizing, I ask her what it is I need to do to get her to forgive me for this. And she tells me that the only way she'll forgive me is if I never, ever ask her to play Monopoly again. And so I agree.